Hi guys, starting a new series today, North Node in Capricorn. So I'm wearing my general's jacket because things are about to get serious. Capricorn is solid, Capricorn is responsible, Capricorn is serious. Probably the most serious zodiac sign and probably the most hardworking zodiac sign, the most solid, I have Capricorn South Node, so everything you're going to hear is going to come straight from the source. It's very comfortable for me to be in that sign. So, whatever I'll be speaking about is going to come from personal experience. All right, before we talk about North Node in Capricorn, we're going to talk about the South Node in Cancer. What does that mean? Your lifetimes, your previous lifetimes, your memories all have to do with being a nurturer. You guys mastered the idea of nurturing. You guys had many lifetimes where people relied on you for emotional support. You were the one who, make sure the household was fed, everybody was warm, everybody was happy, everybody was comfortable. You were the one who was, the shoulder for people to cry on. You were that mother, the mother hen. You were the midwife. You were the one that, you have a lot of lifetimes of bringing babies into this world. You have a lifetimes of nurturing babies. You have a lot of lifetimes, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. You're going to have that. You're going to be very much in touch with your feminine energy. You're very intuitive. You know how to read people. You know how to feel emotions. Sometimes you feel them too much, but you have a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion. You always have a little, you'll always find compassion in your heart. As a matter of fact, your heart chakra is probably super open. You just feel for everybody and you want to protect everybody and nurture everybody. In the South Node in Cancer, it could also be protectors, because just as you could have been a woman in a female role, as a mother, you could have also been a protector of your home, of your land. Cancer is your homeland, your roots. So you could have been police workers. A lot of times have, associated with the sign of Cancer, being of service where you're protecting, where you are nurturing through force, maybe. Firefighters, those kind of ideas. First responders, a lot of times could kind of fit the Cancer South Node bill. So you're always there to help somebody, always there to lend a hand, to mother them. You wanted everybody around you to feel comfortable, cozy, warm, fed, happy, smiling, tucked in, and then you're like, okay, I feel good about myself. As a matter of fact, you give yourself life by always feeling like you have to nurture everybody. You always assume that role of a mother. If you're going to a party, you're probably the one that's like, hey, can I get you a drink? Hey, would you like a refill? Would you like something? Can I get you a blanket? Can I take your coat? It always comes out in you. That's how you know yourself. Another manifestation of South Node in Cancer could have been where instead of being that, that was the good part. The bad part about the South Node, because South Node is always where you went to the extreme, has to do with the idea of just as much as you were mothering, you're also smothering. You were too much. You were overwhelming with your, you were that mom that was like, you can never leave me. You have to stay with me. You have to take care of me. You could have been the mom that was, you don't know yourself unless you are nurturing somebody. Or unless you are being nurtured. You don't know yourself without people surrounding you. You don't know yourself on your own. So, smothering, being, I can't live without you. You can't leave. I know you're grown up. I know you want to go have your own family, but you can't leave me. I'm your mother. Emotional blackmail, that's there. We all know the syndrome, Munchausen syndrome, Munchausen by proxy, where the mother will keep their kids sick on purpose so that she can keep nurturing them. So she makes them better and then she gets them sick again. So she feeds them drugs, she nurtures them, she brings them soup, and she fulfills that role as a mother. But she doesn't see that, holy shit, what are you doing? This is not nurturing anymore. This is not motherly anymore. This is toxic. So toxic emotions, guilt, it's your duty. A lot of familial guilt will be there. You have lifetimes where there was a lot of, I'm thinking about nationalities where that idea of the motherhood is really strong, like Italian families, mother's always right, don't fuck with my mom, don't talk shit about my mom, that kind of idea. Jewish families where the idea of the mother, mother's always right, very matriarchal societies. So just as you are nurturing, you're also, in a sense, toxic to your kids because you never wanted to let them go and you're always involved in their life. You're always there with your fucking advice that nobody needs. You're always there meddling in their affairs, probably coming between your son and his wife, creating drama. You know, you love that family drama. You're comfortable with that. You don't know yourself without it. Another negative manifestation could be that you were, instead of being that mother that took charge and ran the household, you were maybe the one that never got to grow up. You were the one that was always a child. You were always the one that never took responsibility, the one that everybody always helped, the one that everybody always lifted up and took care of. And you never got to be in that role of a provider, of like taking charge. Whether you're a girl or a guy, you're always the one that was kind of like, I'm shy, I can't do it on my own. Can you please help me? So you are really codependent on others around you, you know. So you're always kind of like, can you come with me? Can you come hold my hand? Can you go with me to the doctor? Hey, I gotta go take care of some paperwork at the DMV. Can you come with me? You know, you always need somebody to go with you. So you did not learn to stand on your own 2 feet. With all of that said, if we move into the North Node in Capricorn in the first, you are being asked, you need to step up to the plate. Capricorn is structured. Capricorn is not emotional. Capricorn is never volatile in their emotions. Capricorn, you know, has a thick skin. Capricorn is solid, is practical, is hardworking. Like I said, it's one of the most hardworking signs in the zodiac. You know, it does not mind hard work. You need to step up. You need to step up in leadership positions. You need to step up in positions where you're taking care of yourself, because you took care of others in other lifetimes or they took care of you, but you never really stood on your own 2 feet and took care of yourself. You have to do that now. Capricorn North Node says and will do what he said. It's a very strong North Node because you're literally here to let go of those toxic ideas of family obligation, traditions, all that shit that keeps you in this obligation, duty, guilt, you know, Greek societies, everywhere where the mother is very strong. You know, those ideas, you got to get away from that. You got to be on your own 2 feet. You're here to stand on your own 2 feet. And you're going to have a lot of experiences in this lifetime where you will be left alone. You'll be left on your own. Your husband might leave you if you're a woman, or your parents might kick you out of the house, but you're here to stand on your own 2 feet. You're here to be solid. You're here to build a structure. You're here to build a career. Let's say you were always a housewife. You're here to work, guys, but don't be afraid of it because you're going to find your strength. You need to know your strength. And your strength, you can still nurture people, but you're going to do it from a leadership position. You're going to be, you know, solid. You're going to be that father figure. You know, you're going to find the masculine parts in you, bravery in you. You know, Capricorn is not afraid of responsibility. Capricorn walks into a room and says, everybody relax, I'm here. That's going to have to be you. Okay, so it could be a tough lifetime because when you go from a south node that has to do with emotions and you know, confusion and heaviness and drama, to go to a north node where it's literally no drama, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, it can be hard because you're so scared. What if I don't make it? What if I can make it on my own? Yes, you can. Okay, you're ready for it. You're ready to step into that role of CEO, a leader, director, whatever situation that calls for leadership and being on your own, you have to step into it because you'll find how fucking strong you are, and you'll blend beautifully your emotional sensitivity and your intuition with your practicality, and it's going to be a beautiful picture. Okay, all right guys, now let's dive into each house individually to see what more specifically what we're working with. Okay, don't go anywhere. North Node in Capricorn in the 5th house. Okay, let's dive into your South Node in Cancer in the 11th. What does that mean? I kind of thought about this one and this is what came to mind. So the good part about having Cancer in the 11th is that you had lifetimes where you were involved in the fight for women's rights. Now, I don't know if you really fought or not because Cancer is not a fighter. Cancer is more, the reason I'm thinking about women is because Cancer is female, you know, that feminine, the mother feminine. So you were very involved in groups and organizations that promoted women's rights. So what comes to mind? The suffragettes, the, you know, women's liberation movement. It could have been both sides. It could have been, you know, arguing for, let's say, ideas, you know, Roe versus Wade, pro-abortion or against abortion. You could have been on both sides, because, you know, some of you, Cancer, can see abortion as bad. It can see as, you know, you killing life. But some of you, it can be liberation. You know, Cancer is female energy. So it could have been that. You could have been Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You know, you're very, very wrapped up in these universal causes for women's rights, for the idea of the female. And so you're probably very close to a lot of organizations where there's a lot of females in them. You love organizations like that. You know how they have like women in business lunches, you know, once a month, you know, most notable women in business, woman of the year, things like that. You know, you're really, really passionately involved in groups, organizations that promoted female issues. So because of that, you know, because it's in the South Node, you kind of over-identified with it. You know, your emotions got the best of you, because sometimes these issues can be so strong, you took them so much to heart that they polarized you. You know, maybe you were very angry, maybe you were, you know, just couldn't control yourself because some issues really hit home. Maybe you were involved in some shelters where battered women are. You know, maybe you were involved in ideas where you were nurturing those women and counseling them. You know, wherever there was a bunch of women together and that needed help or needed some kind of push for something, you were there and you really identified with those causes. So that's the good part. The bad part is that you got too emotional about it. You wrapped your world became all of that, their problems, and you kind of, part of you now is always looking for some kind of cause to get wrapped up into, because you think that if you're not proactive about something, then you're not helping the world, you know. And if you're not, you know, you could be, you know, in the negative, it could be like these cray-cray feminist movements. You know, I'm a woman, but I think a woman's power is in not yelling and proving something and arguing and, you know, but it's not doing what she doesn't want to do. That's the best way that you can assert your power as a woman. Just walk away. Don't have to say nothing. Don't have to fight. Just be like, I don't want to do this. Bye. That's it. So if you look at it as on the downside of Cancer in the 11th is maybe groups that were very belligerent, you know, that had to do with, that were on one hand promoting female power and all that, like the Pussy Riot, you know, something like that, something where they're actually destructive in a sense, you know, where they kind of, you're like, are you guys for women, or are you guys, you know, not saying that they're bad, but it could be very radical groups. You know, you can do it whatever you want. But if I look at it in the South Node, I see it as very radical, very disruptive versus very conducive to change. It's disruptive. It's kind of chaotic and maybe disorganized and not really effective, if you ask me. And maybe there was causes that you bought into emotionally because it struck a chord. You were like, yeah, you know, power to the women, but it was somebody's agenda. You bought into somebody's agenda. Somebody was using you guys, your energy, to accomplish something for their goal, but they made it look like, wow, this is all for women. Do you see what I'm saying? So ideas like that. What else could be? That would be the biggest thing, as far as like, you know, because 11th house is also your friends, your associates. Once again, you know, just always liking like groups of women, always being with females, you know, just kind of always, okay, girls, let's go together to the bathroom. You know, when people are at a restaurant, you know, who wants to go to the restroom? And all the girls get up and go, you know, very, very identified, overly identified with the female idea, you know, not being able to go out on your own. You know, if you go to a club, we got to go with a bunch of girls, you know, otherwise somebody's going to take advantage of us, that kind of idea, you know, because in the 11th, with Cancer there, like I said, Cancer sometimes can be, you know, take charge in a sense, like, you know, like I said, in these organizations, or it can be the one that's scared, the one that merges himself or herself with these organizations out of fear that alone she's nothing. You know, you could have been like that. You could have been somebody who was always went out with your girlfriends. You know, if you were at a party and somebody asked you to stay, you're like, no, I gotta go because my girlfriends are leaving. You know, always that interdependency with, like, you know, that comfort zone of like women, women, women. So you probably didn't get to experience a lot of like male energy, like being around males. Maybe you're intimidated by guys. Maybe you don't know how to crack a joke with men. You know, maybe they kind of you always feel like you got to have more women around you to feel comfortable as a woman and as a human being. So now with North Node in Capricorn in the fifth, it's kind of interesting because fifth house is the house of self-expression. It's the house of creativity. It's a house of fun. So I'm like, how the hell am I going to explain Capricorn in the fifth? You know, Capricorn, what kind of fun are we talking about? But then I said, all right, maybe that doesn't necessarily mean fun. It just means that you got to get away from that group think. You know, any node in the 11th house is going to deal with group think. It's going to deal with, you know, when I say jump, we all jump. You know, you kind of get away from that, the masses, the status quo, and kind of, I think the idea of Capricorn in the fifth is not so much to be serious about having fun, but to kind of separate yourself and to cut those cords and to say, you know what, I can have fun on my own. I can have fun with what I want to do, and I'm not afraid to be alone. I'm not afraid to take up this hobby, and even though all my girlfriends are saying that it's stupid, or it could also mean that, you know what, I'm going to join a chess club and it's all guys, and you know what, fuck it, I'm going to play with them and I'm going to learn something, and for once in my life, I'm not going to be afraid to hang around male, because in your way, for you with Capricorn North Node, you will need to get in touch with the masculine in you, you know, so it'll be good for you to hang around males so you can feed off of that, you know, so you can kind of get that out of you and not be intimidated by a group of guys. Maybe you can join some kind of, you know, fifth house is also sports and gambling and all of that. You could join, you can do football, fantasy football, you know, get together with a bunch of guys and say, I'll be the first girl, you know, and do that, you know, but you're doing it because you want to get away from that group thing of, you know, I got to have my girlfriends around me. I got to have my support system. No, you don't. You can have fun on your own. You can have fun doing masculine things. You can learn how to ride a motorcycle. You can go and play sports. You can go, you know, play male sports. You can compete, you know, maybe before you're you know, thinking about ideas that a woman should only be this way. And even if you're a man right now, if you have this position, more than likely you had a lot of female lifetimes, you know, with Cancer South Node, more female lifetimes. So, you know, take part in groups with guys. If you're a guy, don't be intimidated, you know, join all kinds of clubs where there's male energy and you got dudes and you can do some, you know, locker room talk. Nothing wrong with that, you know, compete in sports, compete in something, just that kind of idea, you know, find hobbies that you like that may be shunned upon by your friends or the groups. You know, get away from the groups. You don't need the group to identify you anymore. You don't need to fight for some cause. The women of the world don't need to be saved. They'll be fine. Somebody else will do that. You're here to kind of focus on your creativity and just, you know, pursue it in a logical way. You know, don't get lost in your emotions. Don't think, well, this is bad. Is this going to make me less of a girl? Fuck it, just do it, you know. What else could be Capricorn? Go to like an association where you're encouraged to speak up, you know, do some kind of debates, you know. Capricorn is, you know, play games like Monopoly, you know, where you're learning how to dominate, you're learning how to be that businessman, because Capricorn is a great businessman. Capricorn is cold, it's rational, you know. Develop those ideas, develop your rational thinking, you know, start looking at things less with emotion and more calmly, you know. Nobody's asking you not to feel. You just have to kind of be like, all right, you know what, let me just not overreact. Let me just let things be the way they are. Let me just accept that everything is the way it is in the world and it's perfect and I don't need to do anything about it. And let me just go and, you know, go with my kids, be competitive with your kids, you know, go and, like I said, get down and dirty with them, you know, be strict with your kids, you know, be authoritative, yell at them sometimes, you know, put your foot down. You're here to kind of experience that strength within you, to connect to that strength, masculine strength in you, and put your foot down and not be afraid of man, not be afraid of the company of men, not be afraid of a compliment from a man, you know, not be afraid to say something sarcastic back, you know. Don't be intimidated by them. Don't get away from the girls. And you could be, if you're a man with this position, you're probably very comfortable in the company of women. I would say get away from that, get away from the estrogen, and go and, you know, get some testosterone in your life, okay? All right, guys. Have fun.